do it every single day, right? Crossing the street. It feels so routine, so automatic, we don't even give it a second thought. But what if I told you that simple little act is one of the riskiest things you will do all day? Well, today we are diving deep into the hidden dangers of the crosswalk, and more importantly, how to navigate them safely. Seriously, think about the last time you crossed the street. You walked up to the corner, you probably glanced both ways, and you went. Easy. But in those few seconds, you might have just navigated a minefield of dangers you didn't even see. Let's break down exactly why. Wow, that sounds a little dramatic, doesn't it? But honestly, the data really backs this up. This quote gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today. We are about to pull back the curtain on the risks that are hiding in plain sight every single time you step off that curb.
First thing we've got to talk about is this huge misconception, what I like to call the illusion of safety. We see those white painted lines on the asphalt and our brain just instantly thinks, okay, safe zone. But that is a really dangerous assumption.
It's like our minds automatically draw this little bubble of protection around us the second we're in a crosswalk. But here's the thing. That bubble, it's only as strong as the awareness of the driver heading your way. Your safety is completely in their hands. It depends on their speed, their focus, and whether they even decide to yield. The margin for error is, well, it's razor thin. And look, it's not just about somebody texting and driving or blowing through a red light. Some of the biggest dangers out there are the ones you would never, ever expect. So let's get into some of these hidden risks that can catch even the most cautious person totally off guard.
Okay, this one is both fascinating and absolutely terrifying. The danger isn't always another person's mistake. Sometimes it's literally built right into the car. I'm talking about the A-pillar, that metal post between the windshield and the driver's side window. As a car makes a turn, that pillar can create a blind spot that is just big enough to completely hide a person. It's an invisible trap, and it's proof that you can never ever just assume a driver has seen you.
Now picture this. You're standing at the corner, you're waiting for this signal, you're doing everything by the book. All of a sudden, two cars collide in the middle of the intersection, and one of them is sent careening right towards you. It's a chilling reminder that you can be the perfect pedestrian and still be at risk from things that are completely out of your control.
And this is a classic and tragic example of that kind of chain reaction. So car A does the right thing, sees you, stops, everything's good. But the driver in car B behind them, they're not paying attention. Bam! They rear-end car A, and that force shoves the first car right into the crosswalk and right into you. A totally safe situation turns deadly in an instant. And let's be clear, this isn't some freak accident. It's shockingly common. Study after study confirms that a terrifying number of drivers just don't stop. They don't even slow down for pedestrians and crosswalks. So the hard truth, the one you have to remember, is that you can't ever assume a car is going to stop for you, not even when you have the right of way. Okay, so we've laid out the dangers. Now what? How do we actually protect ourselves? Well, it all starts with knowledge. We have to learn to speak the language of the street, all the rules and the signals that were designed to keep us safe. It's time to decode the crossing code. Let's start with a word we've all heard a million times: jaywalking. We tend to think of it as just a bad habit, but in a lot of places, it's actually illegal. You can get a fine for it. The real danger, though, is how unpredictable it makes you. Drivers are conditioned to look for people at intersections and crosswalks, not suddenly appearing from between two parked cars. And if you think all crosswalks are the same, think again. Let's look at a few different types. You've got the Pelican crossing, which has a flashing amber light for drivers. That can be a bit of a gray area. Then you have the Puffin crossing, which is smarter. It actually uses sensors to know when you're safely across. And a Toucan crossing? Just remember, two can cross. It's for both you and cyclists. Knowing the difference really matters. Now this right here, this might be one of the most misunderstood rules of the road. At a zebra crossing, the classic black and white stripes, you, the pedestrian, have the right of way the absolute second your foot touches the pavement. But at a regular intersection with a traffic light, you only have the right of way when that little walk signal is green. It's a subtle distinction with potentially huge consequences. So we know the risks, we know the rules. Now it's time to get practical. Let's think of this next part as our playbook, a straightforward guide for both people walking and people driving to make our streets safer for everyone. All right, for all of us pedestrians, it really does come down to the basics we learned as kids. Stop, look left, look right, then look left again. It's still the golden rule for a reason. And here's a big one: make eye contact. Get that nonverbal confirmation that a driver actually sees you. But maybe the most crucial tip for our modern age: put the phone away. Your undivided attention is your absolute best defense.
And for the drivers out there, your responsibility is enormous. When you're approaching a crosswalk, slowing down isn't a suggestion, it's a must. Actively scan the sidewalks. Don't just get tunnel vision on the road ahead of you. And please, at school crossings, stay stopped until the crossing guard is completely back on the sidewalk, not just when the last child has passed. That tiny bit of patience could literally save a life.
Let's be real, we've all done it. You need to get to the other side of the street and there's no crosswalk anywhere nearby. When you're in that situation, the rules of the game flip entirely. The responsibility is 100% on you. You must yield to vehicles. The only safe way to do this is to find a spot with a totally clear view, wait for a really big gap in traffic, and make it crystal clear to any drivers what you're about to do. So, what do you do if you get to a corner and the walk signal is just busted? It's a really tricky spot to be in. As the pedestrian, your best bet is to use the main traffic lights as your guide. If you're driving, you have to slow way down and be extra ready to stop. And for everyone, if you see a broken signal, report it to your local authorities. You could literally prevent the next accident. Okay, so our individual actions are absolutely critical. But if we want to make real, lasting change, we have to think bigger. In this final section, let's look at how we can actually redesign our streets and our systems to make them safer for everybody, by design. Making streets safer isn't about just one thing. It's a four-part strategy. It starts with smarter engineering, things like raised crosswalks that physically slow cars down. Then you layer on technology, like sensors and countdown timers. Of course, that has to be backed up by enforcement and education campaigns. And the glue that holds it all together? Smart policies, like complete streets that are designed to protect everyone, not just the people in cars. But in the end, after all the engineering and new policies are in place, it still comes back to us. It comes back to you and me. Whether we're behind the wheel or on our own 2 feet, our focused attention is the most powerful safety tool we have. Just like the quote says, being vigilant isn't just a recommendation, it is a non-negotiable act of self-preservation. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about your own neighborhood, the streets you walk every day. After hearing all this, what is the one single change, big or small, that you think would make the biggest difference for pedestrian safety right where you live? It's something to think about the next time you find yourself standing on the curb waiting to cross.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.